Hello. Today I want to talk about your real nature as divine being. We live in a world where there are many limitations and boundaries, both the physical world we live in and our own minds and physiologies. The physical world we live in is bounded by space, time, and causation. Cause and effect of the physical world that we live in. And our own bodies and minds are limited and bounded. There's only so much we can deviate from our gene pool. Even with the best of behaviors, and certainly with the worst of behaviors, we can bring out the worst of the gene pool. If you're born with blue eyes, you can fake brown eyes, but you're always going to have blue eyes. And the same with the color of your hair, your skin. These are some of the limitations and boundaries of being a human being. And I know that we're all aware of them. So these boundaries and limitations of our physical world, the planet Earth, and all of the universe, the Earth will at some point become a dead planet, along with our sun will become a dead star. This is just the nature of all of the created world, that it's always changing and there are limitations. So it's understandable to mistake what is all of this relative field of creation, to make the mistake, pragyaparad, the mistake of the intellect, thinking that this is all there is, boundaries, limitations, physical worlds of phenomenal forms, our minds and bodies that are ever changing with thoughts and actions that we take. It's easy to think that that's what life is, limited and bounded by space, time, and causation, by lifespans of human beings, all the fauna of the earth and the flora of the earth, and our universe, all bounded by space, time, and causation. But this is the mistake of the intellect. Divine being is the field of the absolute. And that field of the absolute sources all of creation. That field is the essential constituent of all of creation. And that field of the absolute never changes. It is unmanifest and it is unbounded. It is a field of universal God that never changes and sources all of creation, sources all of the relative field. But we're so busy here with our minds, experiencing with our bodies and minds and thoughts of our minds this ever-changing relative field, that the field of divine being is hidden. It is covered, and we are not aware of it, and we do not experience it. But there is a way to bring the experience of divine being into your life here in the relative field with its limitations. When you have a meditation practice that transcends the relative field, then you go beyond all these boundaries and limitations. You go beyond your mind. And then the experience is of divine being in that field of the absolute that never changes. And that experience of the divine being that sources the relative field influences and transforms your mind and your physiology. It brings you more peacefulness here in the world. It brings you more expansion. It brings you more intelligence. Divine being is the essential constituent of this relative field. And it is our privilege as human beings with these very complex nervous systems to transcend in a meditation practice and to experience divine being revealing itself to itself by itself, and to have that experience transform your lives here in the relative field. It is the highest duty one can perform as a human being, to transcend and experience divine being. And with the regular and repeated experience of divine being in your meditation practice, your mind and your physiology rise to that very status of divine being. Now there is no more mistake of the intellect. Pragyaparad is banished. Now you live divine being here in your life as you experience the relative field. You hold the consciousness of divine being at the same time as your consciousness of the relative field. Then you know your nature, and you know the nature of all of creation. Your nature is divine, divine being. Thank you, beloved Guru. All glory be to thee.